Welcome to the channel. We said that we'd return. Woo! Here we are again with another episode of Before You Bet. It's a YouTube series that provides you with all of the stats, knowledge, and information that you're going to need before placing wagers on UFC Fights. It doesn't matter if you're a hardcore mixed martial arts fan who straight up gambles on people throwing hands inside of a cage, or whether you're a more casual fan and you just want to look like a genius in front of your friends, then Before You Bet is the show for you. I'm the host of Before You Bet, Bobby Matthews. My job is to make you an expert in the upcoming UFC event by previewing each fight in a clear, comprehensive, understandable, but brief video presentation.
Well, let's do it.
This episode of
Before You Bet
is for UFC
Fight Night.
The Korean Zombie versus Ige, taking place at the UFC
Apex
in Las Vegas, Nevada, June 19th, 2021. You can watch the event streaming live on ESPN Plus at 4 p.m. Eastern Time and 1 p.m. Pacific. Before You Bet spends a lot of time grinding out the research for the event using multiple sources to give you the winning edge. Our sources include ESPN.com, Tapology.com, and UFC.com. Also, all of our odds information comes from our friends over at MyBookie.ag. MyBookie, online betting made easy.
Before You Bet has no affiliation with MyBookie.
Let's begin. The main event is going to be a 5 round main event between the Korean Zombie, Chan Sung-jun, taking on Dan 50K Ige. Now, the Korean Zombie trains out of Fight Ready and has a 16-6 professional record with 6 TKOs, 8 submissions, and 2 decision victories. Dan Ige trains out of Team Extreme Couture with a 15-3 professional record with 4 TKOs, 5 submissions, and 6 wins by decision. You might know him as the Korean Zombie, but his parents actually call him Chan Sung-jun. And he is going to have a 1-inch reach advantage and is actually 6-3 in the UFC and is coming off a unanimous decision loss to Brian Ortega last October. Jung also has losses in the promotion to Yair Rodriguez and Jose Aldo. The Zombie has knockout wins in the UFC over Frankie Edgar and Dennis Bermudez. Jung even has a submission win over Dustin Poirier way back in 2012. This is a striker versus wrestler matchup. Dan Ige is 7-2 in the UFC and actually called out the Zombie after sending Gavin Tucker into the Shadow Realm back in March. Ige is 5 years younger than his opponent. After losing his UFC debut to Julio Arce by unanimous decision, Dan Ige went on a 6-fight winning streak, beating Edson Barboza, Misard Bektik, and Kevin Aguilar, before eventually losing to Calvin Kattar by unanimous decision in what was his first UFC main event. Dan Ige is looking to come away with a win in what will be his second UFC main event. This will be the Korean Zombie's 8th straight main event in the promotion. The Korean Zombie has gone 4-3 in UFC main events thus far. The odds makers over at MyBookie.ag have got this fight priced as an even money 50-50 fight. The Korean Zombie, Chan Sung-jun, is -115. Dan Ige is also priced at -115. An even money 50-50 coin flip, according to the odds makers. The over-under on this fight is set at 4.5 rounds, with the over priced at -120, and the under 4.5 rounds line is priced at -110. Our trends segment has been provided and sourced by Tapology.com, your one-stop shop for all things MMA. Now, the Korean Zombie is 4-4 as a betting favorite and 4-2 as an underdog. 12 out of 23 pro fights have finished under 1.5 rounds. Dan Ige is 5-0 as a favorite and 3-2 as an underdog. 6 out of 9 of Ige's fights in the UFC have gone to decision. Our official pick here at Before You Bet for the main event is going to be Dan Ige by decision. My question for you is, who do you got in the main event? Are you going to take the Undead Zombie or Dan Ige? Let us know down in the comments. The co-main event is in the heavyweight division when the boa constrictor Alexei Oleinik takes on Sergey the Polar Bear Spivak. Alexei Oleinik has got an insane record of 59, 15, and 1 with 8 TKOs, 46 submissions, and 5 decision victories. Sergey Spivak has a 12-2 professional record with 5 TKOs, 6 submissions, not to be confused with 6 submissions. I'm saying 6 submissions. And he has 1 win by decision. Now, the boa constrictor is searching for his 60th win in his career. Oleinik is 8-6 in the UFC ever since he joined the promotion. Oleinik has won 2 fights, then he lost 1 fight, and then he won 2 fights, and then he lost 1 fight, and then he won 2 fights, and then he lost 2 fights. And then, guess what? He won 2 fights, and then he lost 2 fights. Alexei Oleinik is currently on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Chris Daukaus and Derek Lewis. Now, just because Alexei Oleinik is on a 2-fight losing streak does not guarantee that he's about to go on a 2-fight winning streak.
Okay.
But it is an interesting statistic. So, don't come after me saying, "Hey, that bull schmuck, idiotic imbecile told me that Oleinik was gonna win." Instead, I'd advise everyone against blindly following anybody's random picks on YouTube. Here's an insider tip for betting MMA. Nobody knows who's going to win.
Nobody?
Instead, use this and other picks in previous shows as a tool. A tool to help you become a successful sports gambler. Our job here at Before You Bet is not to pollute your mind and manipulate you with some buzzwords like everyone else who's desperately trying to get you to pick who they're going to pick. Our job is to give you all the information, statistics, and knowledge we can for free. That way you'll know everything you'll need to know before putting your money on the line. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right back to it. Where were we? Oleinik is 17 years older, will have a 2-inch reach advantage. The Russian assassin, hitman-looking motherfucker has notable wins in the UFC against Fabricio Verdum and against Mark Hunt. Sergey Spivak is 3-2 in the UFC, currently on a 2-fight win streak, beating Jared Vanderaa and Carlos Felipe. The Polar Bear also has a win over Tai Tuivasa. Spivak has been beaten by Marcin Tybura and Walt Harris. In fact, both fighters share a loss to the big ticket Walt Harris. The odds have got Alexei Oleinik as a plus 195 underdog. Sergey Spivak is a minus 235 favorite. The over-under line on this fight is set at 1.5 rounds, with the over priced at plus 120 and the under juiced at minus 150. So, you get that nice plus number on the over 1.5 rounds. That is interesting. Let's take a look at some trends and some stats to look out for on this fight. The sponsor for our trends segment for today's episode of Before You Bet is brought to you by our friends over at Air Pump. Have you ever been tossed a ball that has been deflated?
Aww.
Well, change that today with Air Pump. Just set it down, and with our brand new promo code, you can inflate your ball instantly. Just say BYB into the Air Pump, and BAM! There it is. Inflated instantly. Now you can be catching inflated passes all day. Alexei Oleinik is 4-1 as a favorite and 5-6 as an underdog. 59 out of 75 pro fights have finished under 1.5 rounds. 55 of them have finished in the very first round. Sergey Spivak is 2-1 as a favorite, 1-1 as an underdog, with 9 out of 14 pro fights finishing under 1.5 rounds. But 4 out of 5 fights in the UFC have gone over 1.5 rounds. Our official pick here for the heavyweight fight is going to be Alexei Oleinik by submission. In the bantamweight division, Marlon Chito Vera takes on dangerous Davy Grant. Marlon Vera has a 16-7-1 professional record with 6 TKOs, 8 submissions, and 2 wins by decision. Davy Grant has a 13-4 professional record with 3 TKOs, 8 submissions, and 2 wins by decision. Marlon Vera is a switch stance fighter, is 7 years younger than his opponent, and will have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. Vera has gone 10-6 in the UFC and is hoping to avenge his unanimous decision loss to Davy Grant that happened way back in 2016. Vera went 1-2 in his 3 fights in 2020, first losing by unanimous decision to Song Yadong before earning a knockout win against Sugar Sean O'Malley, and then eventually losing by unanimous decision to Jose Aldo that December. Davy Grant is 4-3 in the UFC and is currently on a 3-fight win streak, earning knockout wins over Jonathan Martinez and Martin Day. He also has a split decision win over Grigory Popov. Davy Grant also has a unanimous decision win over Marlon Vera in 2016 that I had mentioned earlier. The odds have got Marlon Vera as a -220 favorite, and Davy Grant is a +180 underdog. The over-under on this fight is set at 2.5 rounds, with the over priced at -135, and the under 2.5 is priced at +105. I got some more free, useful information for you guys. You might want to grab a pen, write some of this stuff down. Here are some more trends for Marlon Vera. Vera is 7-2 as a favorite and 3-4 as an underdog. 12 out of 24 pro fights have gone over 2.5 rounds. The other 12 have gone under 2.5 rounds. Some trends for Davy Grant. He is 1-1 as a favorite, 3-2 as an underdog. 12 out of 17 pro fights have finished under 1.5 rounds. Now, I wouldn't recommend putting any money on the line for this fight, but if I had a gun to my head and had to make a pick, I would choose Marlon Chito Vera. I would also pick the under 2.5 rounds. I'm going to go ahead and put this away. In the featherweight division, Julian Juicy J. Erosa takes on Sang-Woo Sting Choi. Julian Erosa has a 25-9 professional record. He trains out of Yakima MMA, has 11 TKOs, 11 submissions, and 3 wins by decision. Sang-Woo Choi has a 9-3 professional record, spent his training time out of MOB Training Center with 5 TKOs, 0 submissions, and 4 wins by decision. This is actually the Southpaw Julian Erosa's second run in the UFC. He has a 3-4 record in the promotion, and during his first run, he went 1-1. Julian got another shot in the UFC after getting a knockout win against Jamal Emmers on Dana White's Contender Series in 2018. Julian Erosa is currently on a 3-fight win streak. Sang-Woo Choi is 2-2 in the UFC, currently on a 2-fight win streak, beating Yusuf Zalal and Suman Mkhitaryan, both by unanimous decision. Choi lost his first 2 fights in the UFC against Mozafar Evalev and Gavin Tucker. The odds on this fight have got Julian Erosa as a +110 underdog, and Sang-Woo Choi is a -140 favorite. The over-under line on this fight is set at 2.5 rounds, with the over priced at minus 160 and the under is priced at plus 130. Here's some more trends for you to watch out for in this fight. Erosa is 0-1 as a favorite and has gone 4-3 as an underdog. 23 out of 34 pro fights have finished under 2.5 rounds. Sang-Woo Choi has gone 1-0 as a favorite and 2-1 as an underdog. 7 out of 12 pro fights have finished under 2.5 rounds. 3 out of his 4 fights in the UFC have gone to decision. Our official pick for this fight is going to be Julian Erosa by submission. Up next in the middleweight division, we have got Wellington Turman taking on Bruno Silva. Wellington Turman has a 16-4 professional record with 4 TKOs, 7 submissions, and 5 wins by decision. Bruno Silva has a 19-6 professional record with 16 TKOs, 1 win by decision, and has been submitted 5 times with 0 wins by submission in his career. Wellington Turman is 1-2 in the UFC, coming off a knockout loss to Andrew Sanchez last August. Turman lost his UFC debut by split decision to Carl Robertson, then got a unanimous decision win over Marcus Perez. Bruno Silva is going to be making his UFC debut on Saturday. Silva has not had a professional fight since 2018. Silva is currently on a 4-fight win streak. The odds have got Wellington Turman as a plus 115 underdog. The debuting Bruno Silva is a minus 145 favorite. The over-under on this fight is set at 2.5 rounds. Wellington has gone 0-1 as a favorite and 1-1 as an underdog, and 6 out of his last 10 fights have gone to decision. Bruno Silva is 2-0 as an underdog and has not been a favorite in his career, and 20 out of 25 professional fights have gone under 2.5 rounds. Our pick for this fight is going to be Wellington Turman, the opening fight on the main card for UFC Fight Night. Zombie versus Ige is going to be the immortal Matt Brown taking on Diego Lima. Matt Brown has a 24-18 professional record with 15 TKOs, 7 submissions, and 10 losses by submission as well, and only 2 wins by decision. Diego Lima has a 17-8 professional record with 4 TKOs, 5 submissions, and 8 decision victories. Matt Brown has competed for the UFC since 2008, going 15-12 in the promotion. Brown has gone 3-7 in his last 10 fights and is currently on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Carlos Condit and Miguel Beza. Diego Lima is 4-6 in the UFC, coming off a unanimous decision loss to Bilal Muhammad in February. Lima's most notable win in the UFC was a split decision win against Court McGee in August of 2019. Lima has been knocked out by Li Jilang and Tim Means way back in 2015. The odds have got Matt Brown as a plus 140 underdog, and Diego Lima is a minus 170 favorite. The over-under line on this fight has not been set yet. Here's some trends to look out for. Matt Brown is 8-2 as a betting favorite and 7-10 as an underdog. 24 out of 42 pro fights have gone over 2.5 rounds. Diego Lima is 5-4 as a favorite and 3-3 as an underdog. 14 out of 25 pro fights have gone over 2.5 rounds, with 11 going to decision. And now, a word from our sponsor, Freedom. That's freedom with an F. Be free today with freedom. The ability to do what you want, with who you want, when you want, and how you want to do it. That's freedom. Terms apply. The prelim main event is going to be a women's strawweight fight between Kanako Murata and Verna Jandiroba. Kanako Murata has a 12-1 professional record, trains out of Combat Sports Academy, has 2 TKOs, 4 submissions, and 6 decision victories. Verna Jandiroba has a 16-2 professional record, trains out of Academia Fight House has 0 TKOs, but 13 submissions and 3 wins by decision. This is a wrestler versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu matchup. Kanako Murata is 6 years younger, 1-0 in the UFC, currently on an 8-fight win streak. Murata won her UFC debut by unanimous decision against Ronda Marcos in November of 2020. Murata has not lost since 2016. Virna Jandiroba is 2-2 in the UFC and has a 2-inch reach advantage after losing her UFC debut against Carla Esparza by unanimous decision back in 2019. Then Jandiroba went on a 2-fight run, beating Mallory Martin and Felice Herrig, both by submission. Jandiroba is coming off a unanimous decision loss to Mackenzie Dern last December. The odds have got Kanako Murata as a +115 underdog, and Virna Jandiroba is a -145 favorite. The over-under line on this fight is set at 2.5 rounds, with the over priced at -185, and the under 2.5 is at +155. Kanako Murata has gone 3-0 as a favorite. This will be Murata's first time being labeled as an underdog. 7 out of 13 of her pro fights have gone over 2.5 rounds. Virna Jandiroba is 3-1 as a favorite and 0-1 as an underdog. 9 out of 18 pro fights have gone under 1.5 rounds. In the heavyweight division, we have got Josh Parison taking on Roque Martinez. Josh Parison has got a 13-4 professional record, trains out of Scorpion Fighting System with 10 TKOs, 2 submissions, and 1 decision win. Roque Martinez has a 15-7-2 professional record, trains out of Spike 22 with 8 TKOs, 3 submissions, and 4 decision wins. Josh Parison is 0-1 in the UFC. He lost his debut in the promotion against Parker Porter by unanimous decision back in December. Parison earned his shot in the UFC after knocking out Chad Johnson and Greg Rebello in Dana White's Contender Series. Roque Martinez is currently on a 2-fight losing streak in the UFC, losing to Don'Tale Mays by unanimous decision and to Alexander Romanov by submission. The odds have got Josh Parison as a -130 favorite and Roque Martinez is a +110 underdog. The over-under line on this fight is set at 1.5 rounds. Josh Parison has gone 1-1 as a favorite and 1-0 as an underdog, and 12 out of 17 of his pro fights have finished under 1.5 rounds. Roque Martinez is 0-2 as an underdog and has not been labeled as a favorite in his career. 12 out of 24 pro fights have finished under 1.5 rounds. The other 12 went over. In the lightweight division, Joaquim Silva is taking on Rick Glenn. Joaquim Silva has an 11-3 professional record with 6 TKOs, 3 submissions, and 2 decision wins. Rick Glenn, Mr. 2 first names. Rick Glenn has a 21-6 professional record, trains out of Team Alpha Male with 11 TKOs, 4 submissions, and 6 decision wins. Rick Glenn has a 21-6 professional record, trains out of Team Alpha Male with 11 TKOs, 4 submissions, and 6 decision wins. Joaquim Silva is 4-2 in the UFC, coming off a knockout loss to Nasrat Haqparast in 2019. Silva's most notable win in the UFC was a knockout victory against Jared Gordon. Rick Glenn is 3-3 in the UFC, coming off a unanimous decision loss to Kevin Aguilar in 2019. Glenn does have notable wins against Dennis Bermudez and Gavin Tucker. The odds have got Joaquim Silva as a -120 favorite, and Rick Glenn, Mr. 2 first names, is a -110 underdog. The over-under line on this fight is set at 2.5 rounds, with the over priced at -245 and the under priced at +205. Joaquim Silva is 1-1 as a favorite and 2-1 as an underdog. Rick Glenn is 3-1 as a favorite and 3-3 as an underdog. All 6 of Rick Glenn's fights in the UFC have gone to decision. And in the curtain jerker for UFC Fight Night, Korean Zombie vs. Ige is a women's flyweight fight between Casey King O'Neill and Laura Procopio. Casey O'Neill is an undefeated fighter, trains out of Tiger Muay Thai, has a 6-0 professional record. She'll have a 1.5-inch reach advantage with 2 TKOs, 1 submission, and 3 wins by decision. Laura Procopio has a 7-1 professional record, trains out of Nova União, with 1 TKO, 2 submissions, and 4 wins by decision. O'Neill is coming off her knockout win against Shayna Dobson in her UFC debut back in February. Laura Procopio is 1-1 in the UFC, coming off a unanimous decision win against Molly McCann back in February. Procopio's only loss was by split decision against Carol Rosa in the UFC in 2019. The odds have got Casey O'Neill as a plus 125 underdog, and Laura Procopio is a minus 155 favorite. The over-under line on this fight is set at 2.5 rounds, with the over priced at minus 265 and the under at plus 205. O'Neill is 1-0 as a favorite and has not been an underdog in her career. 4 out of her 6 pro fights in MMA have gone over 1.5 rounds, with 3 of those going to decision. Laura Procopio is 0-1 as a favorite and 1-0 as an underdog. 5 out of 8 of her pro fights have gone to decision. Feel free to like the video, share the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more